Episode 9?
Episode 9. We're on 2 hands. Almost gonna have to do 3.
Use our toes
Yeah.
for that.
Here we go. Okay.
I can either use my big thumb.
My big
thumb.
I can definitely do a really good 5. But
So episode 9. So see, we talked about like books, right?
yes.
Not last episode, but the one before.
The one that was episode whatever.
And I've gotten a lot of messages about that episode and the books and stuff like that to read, and like what are the yamas and niyamas, and like that's pretty extensive. And it is, and you can really do a deep dive on it. Words today are hard for me today. I don't know what's happening. Yeah, I mean, I went to open class and it was just
I didn't. It came out flawless. I don't know.
Sometimes words are just hard. But yeah, so like I utilize the yamas and niyamas in my life all the time. Everyone should. But I always find like new ways that they're showing up in my life. And so my idea kind of for today, and maybe for the next few modules, we can
at least the next 7.
Yeah, I mean, we can see how that goes, but to kind of break down what the yamas and the yamas are. So like the yamas are like how you live your life, like how you move through the world, how you view the world, how you live your life, things like that. So it is
interact.
Yeah, it's yoga off the mat.
Right.
Right. We talk a lot about practice. We talk a lot about poses and things like that. And if you're coming to yoga classes, you're hitting, poses and breath work, and cracks me up every time you say
asanas. It's asanas. Okay.
Just always come back to Shavasana.
I'm just going to keep calling it. I'm going to call it Shavasana.
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 Asanas. Yeah, not asanas.
I like the sauna.
It's not a sauna, but yeah. So yeah, it is literally life off of your mat. But also there are ways that it does directly affect and show up on your mat as well. But it is really about, so that's where it starts, right? Taking yoga off of your mat, it starts on your mat. Right. And it's why I love intentions and stuff, because when you come to your mat, like you're moving, you're breathing, but how you show up out there, it will show up here. People aren't always aware of that, and you don't know till you know. And so like setting an intention that it makes sense when you're on your mat, but then also, wait a minute, that also would make sense off of my mat. So it's kind of, I utilize yamas and niyamas a lot in my intentions before a class. So it's a way of taking like yoga off of your mat and how you move through life, but it does also show up on your mat. So non-stealing. Let's talk about it.
Asteya.
Yeah, Asteya. What's such a pretty word, by the way.
It is a beautiful word.
Beautiful word.
Deceiving.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I guess non-stealing is beautiful.
It is beautiful.
So it deserves a beautiful
to not steal.
I mean, in some form or fashion, we are all thieves.
Yeah.
I mean, it does not have to be sticky fingers, monetary value.
Yeah. I've never went somewhere and like stolen a TV or something like that, or stolen. I'm just saying. So like I told you the story of like when I started in teacher training, I didn't know anything about the yamas and niyamas. Right. I was just like, tell me all the things about yoga. I was so excited.
Glasses.
Yeah, rose-colored glasses. And when we went into these, I remember, we got to Asteya, the non-stealing, and I was like, I'm good there. Check and checkmate and move on. And then you really start breaking down the different ways that you are stealing. And it was like guilty, 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 and guilty. So, it's not just physical property, although obviously that would be the most blaringly obvious. Stealing property from someone else. And a lot of time that comes from this feeling of lack, like we don't have enough. This feeling like when we compare ourselves to someone else or what they have, their house is nicer than ours. And not just talking in physical realm, right? They have nicer things, but in a non-physical realm, that could be, I love their personality. I love how they're able to be so free. I love how funny they are. And I'm just not that funny. On your mat, it could look like looking over at your neighbor who's been working for 3 years on a pension, And I'm really jealous of that pencha. I want that now.
Right.
And stealing from, and then it can change how you respond to that person who got their first pencha that's next to you. And they're so excited because they've been working for 3 years to stick that. And if I am living in that stealing mode and I'm comparing myself
Ego.
to you, I've been doing yoga longer than you. You can do poses that I cannot do.
Vice versa.
And vice versa. But I'm just using that as an
Right.
example. But also, it is not something that I have set my mind to. I'm going to work on that consistently to get that. So I'm aware of that. Not everyone looks at it the same way. Had I come from the mindset of I am jealous because I'm not as far along in that particular pose, and I watched you get your first one, which I did get to watch you get your first one, and I was so excited for you. But if I'm living in that place of comparison, it will change how I respond to someone who's elated about something they're excited for, and you're stealing their joy from them. You're also stealing your joy from yourself to be able to feel that for someone else.
Yes.
So it shows up in a lot of different forms. And for me, like my brain automatically just goes to physical forms. And
Right.
there are a lot of physical ways, not just stealing from a store. It talks about stealing from our future, like our future generations, that we are living in excess all the time. We buy so many groceries. We have more food than we need most of the time. Not everybody.
Dude, the sea turtles are just, I don't know. I tell everybody all the time. Sea turtles. Just the sea. The earth. I mean, just,
Yeah.
The earth. We steal from the earth.
All the time.
In so many ways, I don't think people are very aware of it. I think some places do a good attempt. Definitely
conserve.
here to conserve in a way. It's interesting when you switch your mindset to we're stealing from the future, instead of being like, oh, they'll be fine. It'll be all right because I need this now.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a line in there that I love, that the excess in our bodies, the excess in our closets, and the
Yes.
excess in our homes, there's a direct reflection of how we live in this mentality like there's no tomorrow. There is nothing there's not a generation coming behind us that also needs nutrients from our soil and trees so that we have clean air to breathe. And water has a big one.
Water, like some lakes.
It's a touchy subject. But yeah, I mean, utilizing AI, which is stealing all of our water right now. And
whether you believe it or not, it is a serious thing. It's for real.
And I had that conversation with my son the other day, and I told him, I was like, I may not see that in my lifetime.
But
and you may, and I said, and you may not even see it in your lifetime. I'm not sure when. I said, but it's happening.
But we know.
So like if we're not doing anything to fix it, we're just still stealing. For what? For our own gratitude.
And it's greedy. It's very greedy.
Yeah.
Because we don't. Do we need AI?
Yeah.
Just like, do we need plastic bags at the grocery store?
Yeah.
No. Do we need plastic straws? No. There's a lot of things that we make reusable. Plastic containers. There are some glass ones out there.
Yeah.
Comes down to greed. Just like when stealing, you mentioned earlier, oh, well, I don't have that and I feel like I deserve it. Or, oh, I don't have that. They have, a nicer home. Oh, I feel like I need that too. It kind of comes down to greed. Even internally, when you're stealing joy from someone else because you're jealous, it's very greedy. I'm very greedy in a lot of ways myself.
But you don't know until you know. And once you do know, then you can start to become aware of that. And so, like in a lot of what we've talked about is in physical ways, right, out in the world and stuff. But what about just like me personally? There are a lot of ways that I steal from myself.
Yes.
We have conversations about, someone has hurt my feelings, and choosing to bottle that up instead of having a conversation about, hey, that hurt my feelings, and this is really what I need from you. And when I'm choosing not to have that conversation with someone, whether it's out of fear or whatever stops you, that might be hard, then you're stealing them of the opportunity to show up for you. I can see it in so many different areas of life and how it pops up. And I find new layers of that all the time, that I dive deeper and deeper into, like, not stealing from myself or others.
Right.
It's hard. I shared a story just right before we started filming, and I'll share it here, that teaching teacher training right now. It's the first time I've ever taught it. I get nervous before every single module, and that's good because I care. Like, I literally work on the program and rewrite and do all of these things up until the minute it's starting.
Right.
Every single module. Just, I want it to be the best. I want it to be my best. And I think all that's great. Like, that's not a negative thing. But we're 5 modules in, and I had, on the last day of training, was in a yoga class, which always gets me in my feels. But it was the first time I let myself feel proud. And even saying that makes me feel kind of, just saying it out loud. But I made sure to share it with the group afterwards, because that is something I steal from myself often. I don't allow myself to feel proud of something I've done, or proud of something that I have accomplished or pushed myself to do that was outside of my comfort zone. Like I said, I'm generally more of the, okay, well, we did that and we didn't die. We survived. Let's move on. And I feel immense gratitude for experiences often.
Right.
But it is very rare that I allow myself to feel proud. And I'm stealing from myself when I don't let myself feel that way. And so I had a whole moment. I cried for most of the class, and I made sure to share that after, because even though I'm 7 years in, of over 7 years of doing this work, and I do it consistently, I pull it out often, I pay attention to new ways it's showing up in my life often. And there are still a lot of times that I discover a new way. I know that about myself, that I don't let myself feel proud very often, but I don't think it's ever hit me the way it did that day. I don't remember the last time I allowed myself to feel that I get excited, I feel gratitude, but proud, like owning that I did that.
Yeah.
I did that, and I'm so proud of myself for doing that. That's something I struggle with. And so it's a way that I steal from myself. And also, I'll expand on that. When I see other people be proud of themselves and express that, I have a hard time sometimes, like, showing up as I'm happy for you.
Right.
Because I'm jealous. I am jealous that you can feel that way.
Proud.
That you can feel proud and you don't feel guilty about it. You don't feel bad, or that's a normal, healthy that's a healthy emotion for you. I catch myself doing that, and I have to work on that to show up for other people. That, like, my first instinct when I see it is to think, like, well, you're being boastful, but you're not. But you're not. That's my story that I'm coming from that views it that way. And so that's the way I'm stealing from other people. Yeah. So, I mean, I discover new ways all the time. All the time.
Fascinating. And I love that, because then once you are aware of, like, how you're stealing, you realize how you're doing it to others. And I think that's because I feel it's just like love, right? Loving yourself. And this is just what I believe, you can't love anyone else fully until you love yourself. Let me talk about that. I have a problem with that.
You can't love anyone more than you love yourself.
Well,
you don't have the capacity.
No, absolutely not. Yeah. But I feel like, too, like, if you don't love yourself, how are you supposed to love others? If you cannot fill your cup, how are you supposed to fill others' cups? And I feel like that comes down to, I mean, it goes hand in hand with non-stealing. If you are stealing something from yourself, it's going to leak. It's going to leak. That's how I feel. I've noticed it within myself recently.
Because you're aware now.
Because I am aware, I see it, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense. So now that we're aware when those feelings arise, we're like, this is why I'm feeling that way. So it's all right. We feel this way. However, we're not going to stay in this feeling. And I think that's awesome. Like to have that switch, kind of stop thought process and change the narrative internally so you can express fully, to others. And I think I've kind of caught myself, the lack of me communicating, stealing that opportunity from others, to either show up or, explain or all these things. It's getting in the way of my joy and what makes me happy. And instead of fitting a mold or, and all of that breaks down to a conversation. All of it breaks down to them.
You get so tired of me saying
but it's so true. But whenever it comes to like expressing my needs, it has always been very hard. But without expressing my needs, I'm stealing my joy.
And you're stealing the other person's opportunity.
Yes. So I'm doing it to myself and then I'm doing it to others. Yeah. And then I get jealous when other people are joyful or they're like living their best life and they made that happen. They did what they needed to do. I get in my feels, but that's just me. What is the word? It's me projecting this internal battle going back to my story, but it makes sense because I'm like, but they did the work. They deserve this. So if I want that, I need to do the work, do what I need to do, and I will have that. But sometimes that's hard to, it's so much easier, criminal. It sounds so bad. It's true. Whatever. It's so much easier to do bad.
Is it though? In the long run?
In the long run, no. In the moment, yes.
So I'm a long-term thinker.
Yes.
So
and that's changing the internal narrative to instant gratification to true happiness.
Yeah.
Is a battle, and it's something that it's a choice you have to make in your life. Do you want to continue to live day to day for your instant gratification, or are you looking at, nah, brah, I just want to be friggin' happy, and these are the steps I need to take, and that's what I need to do. I need to stop worrying about right now in this moment. What do I need to do now and next and keep going? These choices I'm making to make sure that I'm just happy, and it gets easier if I continue to make the correct choices instead of being like, oh, right here in this moment, maybe I just don't say what's on my mind. Maybe I just don't communicate.
Maybe I just don't buy that and I just take it.
All right. That too. Yeah.
But then where does it land you in the future? You know what I'm saying?
And then you start feeling shame. That's where that word comes.
Full body contact emotion.
Yes. So that's where the shame comes in. But initially, when you accept that it's guilt and you recognize it as guilt, I am not a bad person. Just made a bad choice and are able to rock with that.
For growth.
Yes. And because I want to be happy long term instead of living in shame. Well, I'm just a bad person. That's just how it is. But right now, I feel all right. I'm not worried about long term. That's kind of where, for me personally, that's where it comes into. And I think I'm going down the guilt. I'm changing paths to the guilt and worrying about long term because the short term is not fun. Been doing it too long. Not a criminal anymore. Haven't been for a very long time.
No,
however,
everybody has
but the shame still arises. But instead of seeing it as I am a bad person, I love that so much because I'm not a bad person. I just make some bad choices about not communicating or just doing something just because, or I'm stealing my joy and just allowing other people to continue to steal my joy and just be like, oh well, it's okay. Well, it's okay. It'll be fine. I'll be okay. I'll be fine. If I just don't say something, or I'll be fine. I'll figure it out. Just do it. Just do it, and it'll come. Stop stealing from yourself, and it'll start coming.
So far, the conversations that we've discovered you needed to have, so far they've went great.
They've gone so good.
Went great.
They've gone really good.
Yeah.
There's some more that need to come up, and I'm finding more that need to happen.
Yeah.
And
you will.
Yeah, I will. I'm gonna.
That's on being honest, and that's a whole other podcast.
That is
truthfulness.
Yeah.
That's a whole other Yama.
That's another one.
That we'll talk about. But But yeah, I mean, I want to clarify something because I do have a lot of students that listen to this podcast, and I want to make sure that they understand when I was saying that about seeing someone be proud of themselves. Like I want to be very clear that I am not talking about when I see you nail a pose you've been trying. I am so freaking happy. When you see me, I'm not faking that. And I am literally clapping and high fiving. And I took a picture and I literally texted it to you.
Yes.
Guys, look at you go. I'm not faking any of that. I love being excited for people. What I'm talking about specifically is when I hear someone express, I worked so hard for that. I'm proud of that. It's a tinge in me. And that's about me. It's
Right.
not about the
It
person.
has nothing to do with the other people.
It has nothing to do with that person. That is identifying in me
Right.
a samskara I need to heal. And so I just want to be very clear because I do have a lot of students that listen and that I'm genuinely excited
Right.
with you. Genuinely. It lights me up. I mean, I just sent a picture just a couple of days ago to a student that's like nailing something they've been working on. And I snapped a picture in class and sent it to them. It's just like, look at you go. So I want to be very clear that it is not bad to feel proud of yourself. I was proud of myself. I allowed myself to feel proud. Yeah. It is a samskara. It's an impression with me that I have. It's like a thorn in your side that you just need to pull it out and heal it. So it's just something I've realized, but
Yamas, everybody going through the yamas and niyamas, yamas are internal things we are dealing with. It has nothing to do with anyone else.
Yeah.
It's something that we're dealing.
It's how we approach.
Exactly. So it's not because it's not about anybody else.
Well, it's not personal.
Yeah, it's not. Don't take it personal.
Don't take it personal.
But it's just something that everyone has them, and if you don't, think again. I bet you. I'm not going to promise you, but I bet. We'll gamble. There is something somewhere you are taking from yourself, and you can see it taking from someone else, taking from the earth, taking from, your community, taking from just your children, your spouse. But it's you. It's what you are doing, and you don't even. I feel like in the beginning, you don't even realize that's what you're doing. You have no idea. That makes sense. I remember the first time we went over it, and I was like, oh, now that you put it that way, actually, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very important piece to put in here because everybody just like we talked on the last podcast, we are human too. As teachers, we deal with things internally, and life is a constant battle of understanding why we react or respond in different ways. And it doesn't, 9 times out of 10, 9.9 times out of 10, it's because of what we have going on inside. Not a lot of times, unless you're doing something pretty crazy. But even then, I mean, we have a choice.
How you respond.
Exactly, or not. It just, yeah.
I would say too, the most common is stealing from ourselves.
Right.
And in the ways you don't recognize that you do that. I'll say one of the hardest for me to grasp, by nature, I was a people pleaser most of my life. That's how I got my sense of worth, was making other people happy. And that a lot of times that meant giving away pieces of myself, which is stealing from yourself, obviously. But also in return, in being a people pleaser, I'm a fixer. I want to fix things. When you come to me with a problem, I want to fix things. And I worked really hard at that because once I knew it, I couldn't unknow it. That trying to fix something for someone else is stealing from them. It's like saying to someone, you're not powerful enough, you're not strong enough, I don't believe you could fix that. And once I realized that, I had to really work on stopping trying to fix things for someone. Now I can sit with you in the darkness. I will sit in the silence with you as you figure it out. I will sit in the trenches with you while you figure it out. but I'm not gonna fix that for you, because that would be like me saying, I don't believe you can. And I know that you can. So to me, that was probably one of the hardest for me to accept, that I was stealing from someone else by trying to help many times. And I think we've all been guilty of that. But realizing that you are stealing from them, you're not allowing them to stand in their power, you're stealing it from them. I'd say that's a common way that a lot of people steal with good intentions. That's not even something bad. That's something we do with good intentions. We want to help someone that we care about, but you're stealing from them.
Taking their ability away when you know they're more than capable. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done it the other way, like waiting for someone to save me, come in, even though I know I need to save myself. Waiting for someone to, come in and hold my hand and take me along the way. That's stealing a lot of my power, personally, stealing from myself, stealing my strength. I know I can, but also stealing their time, their joy, their, belief in me. I feel, that can totally go both ways.
Yeah.
I know right now I'm changing the narrative internally because I'm aware of it. But with my injury, God, yeah, definitely been stealing from myself. How are you going to do this? Just not believing in myself, in my ability as a teacher, as a student. Honestly, as a person, it's gone pretty deep. It's spiral and not allowing to steal from myself anymore and just showing up as I can. Because that's enough. And I love what you said today. I don't know exactly how you said it, but I don't have to prove myself
to anyone.
Not
even yourself.
Not even me. Because what I'm capable of today is good enough. How empowering, and knowing that I don't have to steal from myself, and knowing that by not stealing from myself will show and hopefully, teach other people they don't have to do it either. They don't have to look at an injury or a step back as a failure or something that has to be a negative or should be a negative or, get into just the low, because positive things can come from it.
Well, you're stealing your opportunity for growth.
Yes.
And that's why I've said it over and over since you introduced yourself. It will teach you a lot if you let it.
Right.
If you let it. Because there's a big opportunity for growth here.